Everything you see online is fucking bullshit. It really is. I feel like it's designed to make you angry. It's designed to put you against the other. You're just gonna be fed shit that makes you dislike a certain group of people. That's what it really feels like. Every comment you see, all the most liked comments are mostly just hate comments, unless you're watching like brain rot, which is another form of fucking rot for your brain. I wonder why it's called that. It's really interesting because, like, you know, especially on social media, everything you see is just designed to make you angry. And then if you pay attention to the news in any aspect on any side, because it's all manufactured, I think it's designed to, you know, take that anger that you get on your phone and shape your mind into directing that anger at other people. I think it just serves as a distraction. Because these people that the media is focusing your mind into not liking, they're just like you and I. 99% of the people on this planet, especially in this country for sure, are the same. We're all human beings. We all have minds. We all have motivations. We all have our reptilian brain needs and stuff like that. I really think the people that do differ from the rest of the people that I just talked about are the people who are in charge, whoever that may be. That I'm leaving that up to you guys to decide who they is, who is the puppet master here, because I do think there is one. But those are the people that really differ from us, and they do seek to take power. Well, they don't need to take power, they already have it. But most people, especially in the United States, we're like, I like to call it a sociological prison of class that we're in. Take that idea of sociological inmates in a prison of class, which I do believe that is. Like, you just, like, you know, you look at the upper class. I'm not even getting like socialist communists here, because I don't really kind of believe in that stuff anyways. I'm just kind of observing and speaking with my low IQ self, like, look at me. You know, we really are prisoners to some degree. We're slaves to some degree. And it comes in many forms. It really does. Some more obvious than others, which is very evident. If you look at the past, the idea of a slave is very direct and very literal. I think there's so many more overlapping things that come along with the slaves of the past and what we are today. Obviously, we're granted more freedoms, stuff like that. Like, we get to choose what flavor ice cream we want, what kind of foods we want, what we get delivered at our door, what content we consume. But at the end of the day, you look at all the stuff that we have freedom and control over, all of it serves as a distraction, because you don't have freedom of control over how much you want, how fast you want to drive down the road while you're like, you can't drive. No, I'm joking. But it really is like that. I'm kind of going off of I'm going non-script here, but I do feel like all of the quote-unquote freedoms that we have, and don't get me wrong, all of this stuff has brought about immense change and opportunity, and you know, the income inequality is shrinking in the vast scheme of things, but it doesn't seem like that in the short term, nor is it, because you see these people, especially people with so much money, you can't help but think that those people control us more than the government do, based upon how laws are passed and how bills are passed and how lobbying works, everything like that. That's besides the point. I really do feel like all this stuff you see on your phone, all this stuff on social media and just media in general, you know, it's designed to make you angry. It's designed to distract you, because that's really the most addictive thing. Slight agitation. There's, you know, whenever this was, the experiment where the guy had his brain hooked up to wires, and he was able to input whatever part of his brain would be stimulated, and he was able to control that himself. And, you know, obviously, like, the initial thought of what you would want to do the most is like sexual stimulation or whatever, stuff like that, where it's just direct dopamine and stuff like that. But actually, the most addictive thing was slight agitation, which is very interesting, especially if you look at social media today. Like, that's whether it is manufactured to give you that content, or it's just manufactured to give you content that you're most likely to engage with. Going back on what I just said, that makes the most sense. So whether it's designed or not, that's the case. That's what manifests with social media like this, where you're just fed things that just make you agitated and angry all day. And then you go to the news, which a lot of people follow in the first world. You're already angry and agitated, you know, you're in traffic, dealing with all that crap. You know, you don't like your job, and you're on social media just being angry at things that you see to whatever degree. And you get home and watch that news, and you're already angry and irritated, and all that news is just pointing the finger. It's not really like, you know, they're always asking questions on the news that don't have answers, and they've been asking them for like 30 years, and it's just all the fucking same. Nothing ever changes, nothing ever happens, as some people like to say. But I really do feel like a lot of this, whether intentional or not, it's serving as a distraction for people to actually, like, you know, realize that that life could be a lot better just in general. And that really starts with yourself too, is taking control over your life, because you can really only have true comfortability within yourself, because it's hard to not sound corny with this kind of stuff, but money really doesn't make you happy. It just gets rid of a bunch of problems. It could make you more comfortable, but true comfortability comes within and with your mind and your conscious and how satisfied you are with yourself. And you can't think your way into being satisfied with yourself. You have to do things in the world to feel that satisfaction with yourself and have that confidence. That's a big thing too, is the fake confidence stuff. It doesn't work. You have to do things in the world. You have to accomplish things to really attain that confidence, to be able to further yourself and accomplish more things, and not feel like some awkward little fish in a big pond or whatever the fuck. But yeah, I don't even know what we are as the 99.9% or whatever you want to say, as this, the mass of people that exist. I'm mostly talking about just this country, because we're kind of just getting dragged along with whatever happens and with whatever these people choose, and these people are a small group of people. Extremely small, and you can call those people whatever you want. You can identify those people whatever you want. I'm leaving it vague intentionally, not trying to point the finger at anyone, because that's just a waste of time. That gets nowhere. This is just all about, it starts with yourself. That's what it's all about. It starts with all the basic things that you do in the world, going outside, working out, doing the things that a human being 10,000 years ago would be doing to just be able to get food. You know what I'm saying? But everything comes so easily now. You don't have to do any of that stuff. So that's why people are so depressed and anxious and everything nowadays. But I'm no one to speak from my high horse or anything, because when I talk about these things, it's mostly just observing myself. So but that's what that is. So I don't know what we are, but I like to look at the analogy of chess, and I don't think we're the 99% of people are even the pawns in the chess game. I don't think we're even that. We're just like, what are we? We're like the dust that wants to get cleaned off the fucking board. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just there as people, and that's how they treat us. I'm not looking at ourselves like that. Being nihilistic is horrible. Like, being black pilled is just not. It's just not it. It's not good. Not a good way to live. That's how you destroy yourself. Just thinking constantly, infinite exponential snowball effect in your mind of negativity, because that's what it brings about. You can think you can think your way into like a fucking deep dark depression or whatever the hell. You can't think your way out of it though. You can't think yourself into feeling good. You have to do things in the world. That's a very cliche thing. Most people know that, but most people know that, but they don't act on it. I'm not, just like I said before, I'm not one to talk about it or anything. Not one to give people advice. This is mostly just me talking to myself. But it's very interesting, especially when you look at, this distractions that I was talking about earlier, and the availability of the quote unquote freedoms that we have, which are, freedoms. You can wear certain things. You can believe in what you want. For the most part, that's a problem. You're too outward with certain beliefs, you get cut down. Which is very interesting when you look at that. The patterns of what people think, that those opinions get cut down online, obviously. And that just makes you think. It's very evident to who is in control when certain opinions have the light of day. As wrong as they may be, because here's the thing, like, you can have wrong ideas that exist in the world, and if they're wrong, they're going to be beaten by the actual good ideas, because I believe most people are sensible, especially in the first world. Outside of that is a different discussion for a different day. But that's kind of my thing today, is where, like, I feel like it has gotten better in the past, like, 1, 2, 3 years, especially during, like, before that, during COVID, it was really, like, suspect how many people were getting deplatformed, stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Stuff like that really makes you think, doesn't it? Who's in charge? Because, like, you see this on a micro level, too, with people that have, like, social media accounts where they post their opinions and whatnot. And this isn't everybody, but there's a certain amount of people, I'd say most people, that, they moderate their comments to a degree where it's just not purely hate, even though when it would be completely free, open, and objective, it probably will be. So, they're able to moderate those pushbacks on their ideas. And that's kind of where the problems come in, because, that has the reverse effect of the idea of getting rid of these ideas is like, when you don't have that oppositional force to these bad ideas. Going off topic with the distractions here. But, it's really interesting the way the human mind works, because all these distractions that are put in front of us, your phone, your computer, your DoorDash, your little yum snacks, all that crap. It's very interesting because, we know it's distractions. We know it's filling an empty void in our minds and bodies with just another empty void. But It's the same thing with drugs and alcohol too, but we're begging for it. That's what it is, because it's obviously, that's all what innovation really breeds, really, is just more distractions for the common person. Innovation breeds, you would hope, ideally, health improvements when it comes to technology and, just quality of life. But not the quality of life of being able to order a fucking cholesterol-filled fucking whatever burger or anything that will just clog your heart. Shit like that. Shitty food has been really commoditized. But that's also a different discussion. I should really narrow down these topics because I go off so hard, but that's kind of what I want to do. We have all these distractions. We're literally begging for them. Not literally, not objectively begging for them, but the way our minds work, most people are gonna fall into that trap of just pure distraction and pure just rotting away, wasting their time. I feel like so many more people today, just because of the availability of distractions, whether it be video games, porn, anything, weed especially. That's gonna be in my next videos. Talking about weed, that's a very interesting thing. But you have all these distractions in front of you. It's not good. It's not good, and I feel like it's engineered to be that way because human beings, our minds, our creative power is just so immense, and most people go their whole lives without realizing the power that you hold in your mind and the power to do things in the world and to accomplish things. And what comes with that is, when you have that horsepower in your mind, if you can't control it, it will go off into horrible directions where either you're just making bad decisions, constantly trying to temper that part of your mind in an unhealthy way, which is easier, obviously. Because if it was easy to get your life together, most people would be doing it. I keep saying I'm not one to speak because I'm just talking about myself. I really am. And just what I observe with other people as well. If you could really get your life together easily, most people would do it, but most people don't do that. And I feel like today's society, it's so hard because you just have all these freedoms. They're not freedoms though. They're the opposite. They're fucking shackles. They really are. They completely limit your creative power to do anything within your own will. You work a job that you probably don't like to be able to gain resources to spend on things that shackle your mind. It's really not good. It's really bothersome because, that's... I've been through that. That's what this is trying to free myself from that kind of lifestyle. But, I'm just starting doing this, see where it ends up. But the human mind is powerful. That's all I want to say. Most people can conquer the world if they want to. Actually, no, that's not true. Everyone says you can be anything you want to be. I don't believe that's true. I believe every person can be successful in a field, and that's a very broad statement. But there's a lot of people that go their whole life without finding it. And going back to the distractions, that severely limits their ability to find it because they're just such time warps. This doom scrolling, getting involved in current event news crap that has no influence on your life. You don't even know if it's real. You don't know if anything that you see on your computer or your phone is real. And people invest so much energy and emotion into that. It's just why? Why? Because it's easy. It's easy source of dopamine and slight agitation, going back to what I'm saying earlier. It's just easy. Anything that is good for you, anything that is productive and generative is hard. That's how life is. You come to realize that. And I'm not one to speak, but I'm just starting to figure these things out. And, talking about them helps me, concretize them. But yeah, I don't know, that's it.